The objective of today's session is two actually. Objective number one is to give you an idea of what business analytics is really. And objective number two is whether it is really useful in the business domains of today's world. Come, let's dive into the session. I hope you remember last time in the first digital news thing, our resource person, respective managing trustee, was talking about data as the oil. And he has ended his session with this particular statement: the data is the oil. Let us also begin with the final words of him from the day one session. Look at him in the screen. He is Mr. Dave Copeland. He is the Chief Envisioning Officer of Microsoft UK. He is saying data is the fuel of our future. When you have lots of data, it changes things. You know, where did he talk about this particular statement? He was talking this statement in a conference in 2016. This conference was a conference where cloud users and major cloud people gathered. And look at the statement: data is the fuel of our future. The fuel of the future. The data is actually driving us to the brightful future. This is what he's trying to say. Look at the next statement of a very famous person, Mr. Ronald Coase. Mr. Ronald Coase is a Nobel laureate, and he is the professor of economics in Westminster University, London. And he says, if you torture the data long enough, it will confess. So it looks little crazy, right? He says, if you torture the data long enough, it will confess. What does he try to say? Torturing the data is not like what the normal meaning of torture. Looking at the data from this different perspective and combining one data with the another in terms of comparison, in terms of visualization and everything. And how do you transfer the data? Let's see. This is the technique or technology, you can call it as analytics. See, data is the new oil and analytics is the refinery. Imagine a crude oil that normally comes out of the earth. It has more and more byproducts inside. When you purify it, you get more and more byproducts, right? Like the gasoline, like diesel, there's so many items we get. So likewise, data also has more information inside, but when you refine it, when you torture that, you will get those kind of different useful insights. And what is analytics actually? To understand analytics is a journey from data to decision. Look at this, it is a journey. We are starting at the point of data. And why do we take this journey? It is to reach the decision. It means we are using the data of a business and we process it, we purify it, we refine it, we can call it in any terms, and to take the decision. And what does analytics have to do all these things? How it purifies everything, and how does it actually help us in making decisions? It is actually using tools and techniques to extract useful information from the data for decision making, predictions, and many other things. And at this moment, I would like to tell you that these tools and techniques is coming to you in the forthcoming digital musing session. And you will see a wonderful visualization tool session and technique session by our respected professors in the following digital musing sessions. So at this moment, you just understand that there are more tools and techniques inside the analytics to extract useful information from the data. These are all the refinery items that we use. And how does the analytics process is actually taking place? See, the analytics is refining the data. This is what we have seen so far. So the analytics is taking the data and refining the data. How you can refine the data without even understanding what the data is. So this is what you have seen in the screen is actually the framework or the guidelines which tells you how an analytics process is being carried out or how a good analytics process has to be carried out. The first thing when you try to handle a data from any business, whether it is a healthcare business or it is a retail business or it is a business of any sort of things, when you receive the data in your hand and if somebody asks you to do an analytics of it, then the first thing that you have to do is you have to understand the business from where the data has come. So you have to understand how the business is running, what are their strategies, what are their functions, and all those policies. Everything you have to understand, not in depth, but at least to a certain limit you have to understand so that you will be able to take insights and interpret insights properly. See, when you try to handle the data of a business and when you try to take some useful information out of it, the first thing that you have to do is you have to understand the business from where this data comes in. Without understanding how the business is going on and how what are the policies and what are the strategies they follow and what's their environment, without understanding all those things, handling the data is really, it's like a blind man's work. So the first thing that we have to do as an analytics person, as a techno manager, is understand the business from where the data is coming into you. And the next thing is, immediately after understanding the business, understand the data. What do you mean by understanding the data? See, the data is not simple. Not only one field will come to you. I hope you remember yesterday's Excel session. In yesterday's Excel session, you have seen how the data is appearing, right? So when we say data, it contains more and more columns, more and more fields. So each and every field conveys a different message to us. So we have to understand what each and every field is trying to say to us. And after understanding the data, we have to prepare the data. What do you mean by preparing the data? This is actually an interesting part of data analytics. This is actually an interesting part of data analytics, data preparation. See, when data is coming into our hand, the data is generated from any one of the digital systems that the company or the business is using. And how the data is going into their system, it is definitely entered by some human, maybe users, maybe customers, or the data entry operators. When we enter, when humans enter the data, normally what happens is we miss out some data entry and that column will be left empty, or sometimes we may enter a wrong information and sometimes we may enter undesired, I mean unmatched data into the field. So all those things will make your data little dirty. That means it is not a clear data where it is messed up. So before you handle the data for taking insights, you have to clean your data. This is one part. You have to cleanse your data. This is one part. The next part of data preparation is treating the outliers. What do you mean by outliers? The data lying outside of majority of the data we have in hand. For this, I tell you an example. Imagine that we professors of RBS IMSR are gathering in a room and somebody is asking you to do an analytics of our annual income. I mean, the task given to you is doing an analytics of the income of RBS IMSR professors. And this is okay, normal, and we are all in the same, almost in the same category. So analyzing our data is not a pretty difficult thing to you. But suddenly, think that Microsoft's CEO walks into that room. Imagine the annual income of that person. It's really, really huge, right? You cannot have his income, his annual income with us. You cannot compare it with us because it will be in billions and billions of dollars, but what we earn is definitely in lakhs. So this is called an extreme data, and this particular data, the Microsoft CEO's income, it is an extreme value and which cannot match with the data which is already present in this room. This is called an outlier. This is one of the examples of outliers. So when you have outliers, it will mislead your interpretation. It will mislead your findings. So what you have to do is you have to remove all those outliers, or you have to treat them in a proper way. These are all some of the techniques and some of the tasks that you have to do in data preparation. Now, what we know how the business is running, what is this business, and now we know what all the data fields are present and what is the meaning of each and every data field. And now we have cleansed our data, we have treated our data. Now our data is it is very clean and clear, and it is ready for giving us insights, which is hidden insight. Now you can go for analyzing the data. So when you do an analytics, and inside the analytics, when you do an analysis, you cannot, do it without a thing called model. MODL model. You can see here analysis or modeling. See here, in very simple terms, in colloquial terms, I tell you what a model is. Don't confuse too much. It is very, important thing in analytics, but I would like to tell you in a very simple term. Model is a little software robo, a small software robo. You can take it in this way. It takes data and it tries to understand how you and me, that means how your brain and my brain understands the data and how we take decisions. So the model is trying to imitate the human understanding, the human brain behavior. This is a model. And how it is actually being done? It is actually a program. Model is actually a small software robo. It is developed through some programming language, and that model will try to behave like a human. It will understand the data like a human, and it will react like you and me reacting to what we have learned. And once the model is built, you can take insights from the business data using the model. And this is not the stage where you can use your model directly into your business. You have to validate your model. It means you have to check whether it is really working as you desire, whether it is really working properly, and then you have to go for the final usage. So this is how the analytics process is generally taking place. With any analytics, when you see or when you hear something called analytics, this is the process. This is the whole process which is going on in the field of analytics. I'll launch a very simple poll. Try to answer this. Yeah, I'm receiving 88 for 89%. Thank you. I think I've received most of the people. Yeah. Let me end the poll and let us discuss. Look at your answers. It's happy that most of you have answered. The analysis and analytics are completely different from each other. Yes, of course, analysis is different and analytics is different. Those who have answered and they are same, please don't feel bad. Initially, even I was thinking both analysis and analytics are same, but there is a minute difference. That is what we are going to see further. Yeah, let's continue. Look at the differences between analysis and analytics. Analysis, when we say analysis, it focuses on processes and techniques. I mean, what business processes are being followed, what techniques are being followed in the business, and it analyzes that. But analytics, it focuses on data which has been generated from the business, and it uses statistical tools and techniques to analyze the data. And why do we go for analysis? It is to solve the business problems, and it is to make a positive change when there is some problem inside the business or working environment. But when do we do analytics? It is to predict the future. We normally do analytics to predict the future, what is going to happen in future for the business, and based on that, it will help us to make decisions. It helps us in decision making. And look at who is doing business analysis. It is normally done by business analysts or functional analysts or system analysts. But who is doing analytics? The analytics has to be done by the data analyst or data scientist. You know why? Because the analytics is using statistics and mathematics in extreme ways. So what we do in analytics part is simply to say we use computer programs to program the statistical methods and little mathematics inside it. Now look at the four types of analytics we have. These are all the four stages of analytics we can call, or four different types of analytics as you wish you can call in any way. The first stage was descriptive analytics. The descriptive analytics explains what has happened in the business in the past until yesterday, what has happened in our business. And the diagnostic analysis explains why something has happened like that. What is the reason for something to be happening like that? And the third type of analytics is predictive analytics. This predictive analytics is helping us to forecast what might happen in the future. And the final one is prescriptive analytics. It actually recommends us what has to be done to correct if some problem is going on in our business at present, or what has to be done to improve the business, or what has to be done to increase the profits of the business. You can, compare this prescriptive analytics like the prescription written by the doctor. When you want to have some remedies, or when you want to have some improvements in your business, you can always have to go for prescriptive analytics. Look at this, the same information but with a detail, little more detail inside. The descriptive analytics is standing in the information part. Look at the arrow. The arrow starts from information. As it goes up, it ends up in optimization. So what do you mean by optimization? The optimization is effective usage of available resources within stipulated time with more benefits. So what is available has to be used very properly without any wastage to give more positive outcomes. Now, descriptive analytics is helping us to understand what has happened in the past in our business, and this is insight. It is called as insight. Insight in the sense it is not known until it happens. We come to know only after it happens. And diagnostic analytics and predictive analytics fall in the insight part. And why diagnostic analytics and predictive analytics are falling under insight? Because the diagnostic analytics tells me why did it happen, and predictive analytics will tell me what will happen in the future if the trend continues like this. And prescriptive analytics is giving me the foresight. It gives me power to see the future based on what the insight and insight tells me. And you can also look at the bottom and the side edges, the arrow, the x-axis and y-axis. When as we travel from descriptive analytics to prescriptive analytics, it is actually the difficulty is increasing. I mean, doing diagnostic analytics, predictive analytics, descriptive analytics, when you move on in the analytics ladder, the difficulty is increasing. But as difficulty is increasing, the value of the insights that we take is also increasing. So if you want to solve a very little problem and if the business is very little and the problems is not so serious, then you can go for descriptive analytics, and you can start even with diagnostic analytics. But if you really, really want to improve your business to certain heights, then you have to go for predictive analytics. And prescriptive analytics usage is not that much obvious in these days business. Maybe in future, the prescriptive analytics will come into play when you techno managers go out after 2 years into the industry. Then you may happen to prescribe, the businesses based on what you have predicted out of the data. So when we do analytics, we kind of getting two different outputs. One is inference, the other one is prediction. What is inference? Inference is nothing but reasoning. Why something has happened and what causes this to happen? For example, imagine a retail store or a grocery store or a departmental store where suddenly the cool drinks and ice cream sales gone down. Not only in one particular shop, but all the shops in a particular district of them have faced suddenly a fall trend in cool drink sales. And this may be, due to sudden seasonal raining in that area, sudden rain or seasonal rain in that area, or pandemic like what we are facing now. So people may be afraid of having cool drinks and ice creams because they may think that they catch cold, so they have stopped. They may have stopped taking ice creams and cool drinks, so the sales have gone down. So why the thing has happened? Because of what, or what causes, which reason causes this effect is actually the inference. When you do analytics, you will understand what made this to happen. This is inference. The other output is prediction. If the rain continues like this, the sales may not be good for the ice creams and cool drinks part. So the store owners may decide to replace this items with some other items based on prediction, right? So these are all the two outputs that we get out of analytics. Now we are going to see an interesting case, an interesting example of Uber. I hope all of you are okay. All of you have come to know the term Uber, right? Uber taxi. The Uber has faced a serious problem in late 2017 and 19 in Mumbai. It is a real case. This is the case in which I was working when I did my degree program in data science. Uh, they actually have faced a serious problem in Mumbai city. What that Mumbai city problem to Uber? Look at the title of this problem. It is a supply demand gap. What is supply in Uber? Providing taxi service is supply. What is demand in Uber cab service? It is booking for the taxi by the customers. So supply demand gap is nothing but the Uber is unable to provide that many number of taxis to all the customers who are booking for the cab. So now we are going to understand how this problem has been solved by Uber's data scientist team to solve this issue. Look at, we normally have the experience of traveling in a cab and think that situations, the moments where you have traveled in a cab, where you have booked for a cab and waiting for the cab to arrive. What happens if suddenly the driver of the cab cancels your booking after you book the cab for 20, 15 or 20 minutes? Imagine the mindset and the hurry that we are in. I had an experience when I went for IIM program in Bangalore. I had to catch the train at night 10 o'clock. So I had left the IIM campus around 6:37. we three professors were there, and we have booked a cab to catch the train at 10 o'clock. And we were waiting in front of the campus, IIM campus, from 6:30. After half an hour, the first cab driver called us and said he was unable to reach us because of huge traffic, and he cancelled our booking. And next, by 7 o'clock, we booked another cab. And after 20 minutes, by around 7:15, 7:20, the next driver also called us and said he couldn't reach because of huge traffic. Imagine the situation we were in. This really caused us, a mental trouble. And now, if I travel to Bangalore anymore, I will not believe the taxi service that I have booked on that day, because I will think that they may cancel my trip at any time, and they are not valuing customers. So this is the problem what Uber was also facing when the drivers are canceling the booking of the customers. So it is not only the problem to the customer. See, that as a customer, on that day I somehow managed to book another cab, and I've traveled to the railway station. I got my train, and I have reached my place. But what is remaining in my mind is I will not believe that taxi service anymore when I go to Bangalore hereafter. So this is a bad image to the business. So when drivers cancel the customer's request for cab in Uber, they started having trouble. Their business got impacted because of this. And another problem is they started losing the revenue. So now, what is the objective now as a data scientist team they have faced with? Their aim is to identify the root cause of the problem. This is what the incidents that I told you little before. So they started understanding what really caused this problem, why the drivers are canceling the bookings by the customers, and why the cars are not available in certain situations. And the next objective is to give a good solution to come out of this issue, or recommend different methods to improve the situation. Improve in the sense they may not be completely coming out of this cancellation and non-availability problem, but they may reduce. So this is what the objective of this case. And for solving this case, the data that they got is, I told the data is the fuel. So we can do anything and everything only with the data. Look at this data. This is the data that the data scientist team in Uber they have received. So it is showing request ID, time of request, drop of time, pickup point, driver ID, status of the request. This is normally we also get in the messages when we book the cab, right? So when we book the cab, our request ID will be generated, and at what time we have requested, we made a request, and at what time they have dropped us in case if the trip is successful, at which point they picked up, and who is the driver, what is the ID of the driver, and all those things. But what do we understand from that? What do you understand from this? It's clumsy, right? We definitely can't say anything by seeing only these things. Sorry, I'm unable to show you the real data because it is a big Excel sheet and it is little huge also. Yeah, suppose if we have a chance in future in the digital musings, definitely I'll show you the live demonstration of how these problems can be solved with a tableau demo, with a visualization demo. Now you just think that this is the data that Uber has given their data science team, and now let's just see what they have did. The data science team has done to solve this issue. And also note one more thing, that the data is only to and from the airport. I mean, the data shows how many bookings taken place each day from the Mumbai city to the Mumbai airport, and Mumbai airport to the Mumbai city. So this data doesn't include anything else. I mean, other bookings of the Mumbai city of Uber. It is the data which talks about only the flight between city and airport of Uber. Look at this. The first analysis the data science team did is request analysis. So how many cancellations taken place in the morning and how many requests gone unavailable, I mean taxi unavailable in the evening. So look at the trend, almost, I tell you, the blue, all the blues that you see is cancel trips, and all the oranges in the middle, the yellow-like color shade is actually saying no cars available, and all the red ones are trip completed. Trip completed. And this is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So all the weekdays are showing the same trend, a common trend. No day is saying the request is up. It is not that the requests are very huge in Monday and very less in Wednesday. No, not like that. Almost the requests are common for all the days. And look at the next step that data scientist team has done. Request, and they did another request analysis between city and airport requests in morning and evening respectively. So how many requests are coming from the airport and how many requests are coming from the city? The first analysis is how many cancellations have been done, and this is how many requests are coming. It is talking only about the request. So the blue is talking about airport request and yellow is talking about the city request. Look at the pattern. When you see the graph, it is almost all the 5 days graphs are almost looking similar. It means that the number of requests coming from the airport and coming from the city in all the weekdays are same. There's no difference. So they did combine the data for all the days. So here all blue is airport request and all the oranges are city request. So how many number of trips have been taken from the city to airport and how many number of trips have been taken from airport to city, everything they combine for a reason. Just you see, after combining, what they did is they just divided this entire data into 5 different bins. It means 5 different parts. So how many requests have come between 12 a.m. and 5 a.m. and they named it as pre-morning. And how many requests have come between 5 a.m. in the morning and 10 a.m. in the morning? It is morning rush. And how many requests have come to Uber between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m.? It is daytime. And 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. evening rush, and 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. it is again late night. So what they did is they have divided the total number of requests coming to Uber into 5 different categories, and they named it pre-morning, morning rush, daytime, evening rush, and late night. Why did they do this? Look at this. This is the result that they get after binning. I mean, after dividing their time into 5 different buckets. So this is the problem identification part. What has happened in the morning and evening in Uber between city and airport flight? Look at this. Graph clearly shows that the major problems are cancelled trips during the morning rush and unavailability of cars during the evening rush. See here, this is evening rush. This bar is actually talking about evening rush. And which is the huge color here? The yellow color. The yellow color is actually no cars available. It is actually no cars available. And come here, fourth bar. Look at the fourth bar. It is a morning rush bar. And which is the huge here? Which is the huge here? No, nothing, right? It is morning rush. Almost the blue and pink are same. What is blue? Cancel trip. And what is pink? Trip completed. So they are cancelling as equal trips as they are taking. So after binning and after making this, they understood that the problem is in this timing. Why did they bin? Why did they separate the number of requests into different timings? It is to understand exactly at what time of the day more cancellations are taking place. So they found two things out of this kind of an analytics. One is cancelled trips during the morning rush and unavailability of car during the evening rush. So morning rush is cancellations are more, and in evening rush the unavailability is more. This is what they have found after binning. And next, what they did. Look at this. The supply from the city is 472. This is airport supply, this is city supply, right? So how many total trips, percentage of total trips from the city that has got cancelled? This bar is actually, this bar chart is actually speaking of how many trips have been cancelled. Almost 50 percentage of total trips from the city have got cancelled because of some reason. So let's understand that. Look at the city bar, the second one. What is 472 in this thing? It is trip completed. What is 385 in this yellow bar? It is no cars available. And what is this blue 820? It is cancelled, total cancelled. You just add 820 and 385. It gives you more than 472. What is 472? The trips completed. So the total request coming to the Uber, excuse me, the total request coming to the Uber from a city is 1,677. But how many trips they can successfully complete? Only 472. So what is the difference? 1,205. Look at this, 1,205 requests they happen to cancel from the city to the airport. And from airport to the city, you can see in the next bar. And no cost, what happens in no cost category? 70% of total trips from the airport has got cancelled because of no costs available. So from the airport, now look at the first bar from the airport. What is the pink saying? Again, it is trip completed. What is the yellow bar, yellow part of bar saying? It is no costs available. What is the blue part is saying? It is number of trips got cancelled. So which is the huge here? Again, the yellow part, which is no cars available. So what is the major problem in the airport? The major problem in the airport is cars are not available. The major problem in the city was so the trips got cancelled because of some reason. And from the airport, there's no cars available. And they understood through word of mouth and direct speech to the direct interview with the drivers of Uber that the drivers, once they drop the customers in the city, they are not returning to the airport in with an empty car. They are waiting. They have been waiting in the city. Hmm, excuse me, somebody is raising hand. So most of the drivers are staying in city waiting for some customers to come to travel to the airport. So they don't want to travel to the airport back with an empty car because that may be a loss to them. They have to spend their fuel without earning anything. So they are staying in the city itself. That's the reason. And why did they cancel the trips in the city, from the city? It is because of pure traffic, nothing else, no other reason. And at this moment, I would like to ask you a question. Think in your mind, if you are the data scientist there in Uber, what kind of suggestions would you offer them, or what kind of recommendations would you give them to come out of the situation? We know clearly after doing little analytics that 70% of total trips from the airport are being cancelled because of non-availability of cars, and 50% of the trips of passengers cancelled from the city because of drivers cancel the trip due to traffic. So, what would be your recommendation to improve their availability of cars, or what is your suggestion to bridge this gap? If you are interested, you can type in chat. You can answer me in chat. What would be your recommendation? Of course, techno managers have to recommend prescriptive analytics. It is. Now we understand the situation. Now we know what caused the problem, and we also know that the problem is too huge because two-thirds of their request is getting cancelled. Can you give a recommendation? Don't get panicked. Don't think that you may answer wrong. Right? Wrong is not an issue. Just make a try. If you're interested, just post a chat of your recommendation. Right. By the time I'll move on, if somebody chats, we'll discuss that later. These are all the recommendations that their team have given to Uber. For the trips in the morning, drivers can be given more incentives to make those trips. They could be given bonus, and Uber can pay for their gas, their petrol or fuel, whatever they use. And Uber can increase the demand at the airport to reduce idle time by increased marketing. I mean, they can concentrate little marketing parts in the airport side so that more Uber taxis can fly from airport to the city like that. And for the evening rush, what are the suggestions they have given us? Drivers can again be given a bonus to complete a trip from the airport in the evening, and Uber can also pay drivers to come without a passenger to the airport. So they are actually giving a positive vibe in the minds of drivers. If they pay, they come back with the empty car. And another innovative way can be to pool the rides of passengers so that lesser number of cars can be serve more passengers. So how many number of passengers are routing from one particular area, they can analyze that and they can move on to that. And these are all the recommendations that the data scientist team from the Uber suggested, and luckily these suggestions have been carried out and they have come out of this problem successfully, and this is a successful analysis path from Uber side. And this analytics is what you have seen is all charts and bars and everything, right? This is called descriptive analytics. What we did use the existing data and we try to understand what has happened to the Uber service in the past, and we try to understand what is the reason for something has to happen. Right? This is a descriptive analytics, and we little moved from descriptive analytics to diagnostic analytics. So we understood what has happened, and we also understood why that had happened, right? And now I will show you a very little example of predictive analytics, the next analytics, right? Before getting into this second example, do you remember this slide? Do you remember this one? This is day one musing class. This is one of the slides that we have come across in day one musing. This was shared by our managing trustee. He said Amazon was disrupting Walmart. Walmart is not a very little business or a small business, and we cannot take Amazon disrupting Walmart as a very small news or a simple news, right? Walmart was also a great supply chain champion in the market, but suddenly Amazon was disrupting Walmart. And I don't know whether you remember or not. I hope you remember what he has said in another slide, that businesses, successful businesses in this time, they are using digital technologies in a better way. So the companies, the businesses, they use digital technologies, they are winning than the businesses, those who are not using the digital technologies. The success of Amazon was, the success behind Amazon has many reasons, but one of the reasons for the success is they use the digital technology in a very better way. And there are so many digital technologies. We are going to see how the Amazon has used machine learning. The machine learning is one of the digital technologies nowadays the businesses are using to improve themselves. Now we are going to see one of the digital technologies, machine learning, how it has been used by Amazon to improve their business. Look at this example. We know Amazon is a giant retail, online retail giant across the world, but they had faced a problem in Singapore in the year 2018 when they conducted the customer satisfaction survey among the e-commerce companies in Singapore across the customers, and there were 100 local companies and foreign companies were there in the market, and Amazon scored very less. The Amazon ranks in fact last in terms of customer satisfaction. The Singapore customers was not satisfied with the Amazon. This is pretty shocking, right? This is really shocking. We cannot, even we cannot believe that Amazon has ranked last in terms of customer satisfaction. But this was the real thing which has happened in 2018 in Singapore. And John Lem, who was the lead analyst in Singapore Management University, was the data scientist who actually handled this problem. Look at the data. I don't want to give you much details. I just want to tell you, I just would like to make you believe that they use machine learning to solve their problem. Look what they got. They actually conducted a survey with the customers, online customers, and they went to door. They collected data from each and every customer who has purchased something through online in the last 2 months, and they've collected data, and they end up in this set of information. Look, the companies are Amazon, Carousel, eBay, Fave, Q10, Turbo, Zalora. These are all some of the companies in Singapore, some of the famous companies in the Singapore who are doing online retail. And what kind of measures or what kind of data have been collected from the Singapore customers? Their customer satisfaction, willingness to recommend. They asked whether you will you recommend Amazon or some company to your friends or family? And they actually taken customer spend. I mean, how much the customer is spending in the site for purchasing something, and how frequently the customer is visiting to the site and everything. And they have visited door to door, and they did keep one restriction. The person who can give data must have purchased some items from the online retail store in the last 2 months. If the person has not done any purchase in the last 2 months, they are not eligible to give their data, and that's it. And these are all the data. Again, they are doing some exploratory analysis. Again, they are visualizing their results. Look at the average customer satisfaction. Amazon is standing at 7.48, but look, the Zalora is topping with 7.74. Look at the next visualization they did, average rating on likelihood recommend. I mean, how likely the customers are to recommend Amazon to their friends and family. Again, Amazon is standing in the low. Now, they took one of the leading companies in Singapore e-retail, that is Q10, and they compared the average score of Q10 with Amazon. So, how much the Kyoto scored and how much the Amazon scored. Remember that they did not take the highest one, they did choose the average company, and they compared the Amazon's performance with that Q10, the average scoring company. And this is the result that I've got. Look at this. Whatever you are seeing right side to it is actually the positive things that Amazon has, and whatever you are seeing left side to the zero is showing negative things which Amazon has. See, Amazon doing well in website security, order tracking is very easy. Payment process and returning payment, everything is very pakka. They are satisfied with all those things. But what is the negative point or what is the drawback with the Amazon in Singapore? Ease of comparing products. They were unable to compare the products which are available in the site. The next major problem that they face is ease of managing your shopping cart. The shopping cart management was not flexible, and service quality was also less than average by Amazon, and sufficiency of product information. The product did not have sufficient information. So these are all, and look at this variety of products that meet my needs. Amazon was, having many products in their site, but what the Singapore customers wanted was not there. So my needs are not there. The products that I prefer or the products that I need are not there in the Amazon. This is another problem. And overall product quality was also a problem. Now, after seeing, after doing a small comparison and everything, they got this and they ran a linear regression model. I hope I just like to remind you of what a model is. Model is nothing but a small robot which tries to imitate human thinking and human understanding, and it understands the data like our brain, like human brain understands, and it takes decision like what and how our brain takes decision based on the data that we give to it, right? So they ran a linear regression model. It is one of the machine learning algorithms. The machine learning technique is used for solving business problems, and they identified these are all the key driving factors which affect Amazon's performance in Singapore. Price given quality. Products that offer better quality or price than expected will increase customer satisfaction. These are all the recommendations. You can even take these are all the recommendations because the linear regression model says these are all the factors which are affecting the customer satisfaction a lot in Singapore. So sufficiency of product information. So the company has to give more information about each and every product or almost most of the products which is offered in the website, and ease of comparing products. So the Amazon has to take little effort to make the customers compare the products that they choose with other products and range of delivery options. So the delivery options were very little it seems. So the delivery options must be expanded. And ease of tracking your order must also be increased and improved, and return and exchange policies also must be improved. These are all the key driving factors. This is what the model says. If the Amazon can increase or improve in this area, and they can succeed in the Singapore market, and they have implemented this. And now a recent study, after this, there was a study in 2019, the end of 2019, they are successful than in 2018 in Singapore now. And now the time comes to our thinking. It's a little activity time. And before getting into our activity, just try answering this poll. We have discussed Amazon's case right now, right? Which is the online retail giant Amazon's greatest strength? Yeah, you are answering. 31%. Yes, come up. I'm expecting little more responses so that we can wind up. Almost most of you have answered the poll, I think. You just end the poll and we'll see what answer you're giving. 35% of you have said customer service, and 5% of you have said execution, and 60% of you have said use of digital technology everywhere. Exactly as you said, as majority people said, use of digital technology everywhere, from innovation, customer service, execution, delivery, order tracking, everywhere, if you see Amazon, they are legends in using digital technology. This is the reason why they are successful in the market now. Now, it's the time to wrap, and I need your cooperation, guys. The business problems are everywhere. Don't think that the business problem can come only to Uber or only to Amazon or Flipkart or Microsoft. No. Wherever some process is taking place, the data is getting generated. Wherever one or two people started working, the data gets generated. And wherever you see data, there comes business problems, and there comes the need of analytics, and there comes the need of techno managers too. So I would like to hear from you at this moment. Just take a 5 minutes and think and identify different business problems in an educational institution like us. You can even take RVS as an example. So that what are all the business problems, potential business problems are around us? Just think. For example, I can say the students bus, I mean college bus transport area is one of the problems, right? One of the problems where analytics can be applied. Transport, maybe one of the areas where you can apply. Yes, students, just try answering. Dhyaneshwaran, Mr. Dhyaneshwaran has answered food area, I mean hostel areas, one of the analytics problems area. Irregular fee payment of students. It is from Sona, and Nishant Kumar said admission process. Yes, good. This is one of the areas where analytics can be applied. Yes, good students. Nice attempt. Yes, we can improve admission process if we apply analytics. Really, the irregular fee payments can be controlled, can be, the situation can be improved with the help of analytics. Yes, whether students get practical knowledge from institutions. Yes, so that also we can do an analytics. We can apply analytics. Sufficient availability of library resources. Yes, you can do an analytics in library, and you can check how many number of useful books available and how many number of students studying in the institution. You can make a comparison, and you can end up in saying the library has to buy more books or journals and something. Yes. Sufficient spacious classroom environment. Yes, we can make a poll among the students. We can take suggestions from the students, and we can analyze the data. And if the classroom environment is not so good, then we can go for the management can go for expanding the classroom size and everything. Thank you, students. And I don't want to crush you on day one itself. Thanks for your responses. And for the previous Uber case, one of the students has answered recruiting more people to solve the problem. See, understand, recruiting cannot be a solution to this problem, because their problem was the number of cars were plenty. The Uber had enough number of taxis available, enough number of drivers available. But the only problem is they were unable to provide the available taxis to the customers against their request made. This is the only problem for them. So recruitment may not solve their issue. But anyway, don't feel bad. Your attempt is good. You have to be like this. You have to talk. So let's take the final poll and end the session. Look at this, 89% of the respondents you have said you will suggest to use analytics. Yes, good. Remember and believe that the world is going to be completely artificial intelligence world from hereafter. Anywhere and everywhere, not only in the business, in any part of the world you go after this pandemic especially, you will see AI technologies coming and working for you. Recently, even you may also have happened to read this news. One of the jewelry shops or textile shops, they're using robo to check uh, the temperature of the customers who are visiting, right? So digital technologies and analytics have become part and parcel of our lives, and the future will be completely artificial intelligence, right? So, using analytics and artificial intelligence enabled technologies is the wise decision for any business to grow. Right? And with that, we wind up the session. As you see on the screen, data is good, but analytics makes it great. Happy learning, students.